I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig. Welcome to my new series called The Pivot. We are so excited to bring you deeper conversations with people who've made really impactful changes in their lives. We're going to find out how they do it and how you can also learn from their experience. We're thrilled to be partnering with Signal Relief, a pain patch reliever. I've used it and had tremendous success. We're really excited to have you join us and learn more about how to make the important pivots in your life. Welcome to The Pivot. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig, and today we have a very special guest. Not only is he a successful entrepreneur, but Mike Hammond, who founded and owns Signal Relief, is also the sponsor for this whole series. And we're so excited to get into his backstory, how he found success, his mindset, and the important pivots in his life. Hello, I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig, and welcome to The Pivot. We have Mike Hammond here. He is the founder and owner of Signal Relief, and we're so excited to have him in New York City. He is also the sponsor for our podcast and YouTube show, and we're going to learn more about Mike Hammond and his various successes. You know, we've had a lot of founders on the show. And what do you think it was that was a turning point for you in terms of pivoting into this unique space? I mean, you're the founder of several companies and you're really successful at it.
I grew up in Idaho. So my dad was a janitor. My mom taught swim lessons. We barely could afford Christmas most times. Like, I saw the stress, right? That I think the majority of families go through actually in their raising kids. And I didn't want anything to do with having that kind of stress in my family. And so I was the first one that went to college in my side of the family. And then when I went to college, I went to be a teacher. And I thought that that would be the life, because teachers made 50 or 60 grand a year. That was way more than my dad ever made. It'd be the life. And for me, I think one of the biggest blessings I had is I had a really successful roommate move in who was in sales. And he talked me into going out and selling with him for a summer. Like everyone, I just went out and I worked hard, and I ended up being I was one of the top guys in the nation for 4 years. So I ended up being really, really good at it. And it just opened my eyes to what I actually could accomplish. And so these self-limiting beliefs, or like what I had actually said, this is what I'm going to do, those kind of just dissolved and disappeared. And I started to realize I can do whatever I want. And that was it. That was a huge turning point for me.
I guess I have a question about two pivots, because it sounds like the first one was when you decided what kind of life you wanted to have.
The first pivot for sure was when I knew I didn't want to have the stress that my parents grew up with. I was willing to do whatever. I would work as hard as I needed to work to not have that be my life. The second one, because again, that turned me to go to college, be a teacher, and I just realized my cap could be whatever I wanted it to be.
Was that like an internal knowledge about yourself?
Mm-hmm. It was two things. One, it was realizing that I was good at something, right? And I was good at business. But two, it's just one of the beautiful things about doing door-to-door in college is I met hundreds of people every day. And a lot of them were really successful. I was knocking on huge mansion homes, meeting these super successful families that I was becoming friends with. And I started to realize these guys aren't that much different than me. Like, we're all the same. So why can't I do what they do? And right out of college, I got a job. I mean, I got hired for a couple $100,000 a year right out of getting my bachelor's.
Wow.
And they hired me to run a pest company that was nationwide. And I thought, oh, this is great. But then after doing it for a year, I was like, I don't need to do this for someone else. I could do this for me. And again, it's just that thing where I'm like, you realize what you're capable of. And I think people do that all the time.
Yeah.
But I think most people, they're like, man, I think I could do this. But then they get afraid of everything that's going to happen if they fail.
What do you think your advice is to people who are looking at you and saying, I think I can do it, but I'm really fearful to take that leap?
So it might be different for everyone, but I also realized growing up with nothing, life was great. Like, money didn't determine my happiness. I loved my family life. Even though my parents barely made their bills every single month, I had a great dad, I had a great mom, life was great. So I've always felt like if I lose everything, it isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad. At least we still have each other.
Yeah.
And so I was never afraid of losing everything. And so many people don't do something because they're afraid of losing something. Like I think 80% of people have had an idea where they're like, man, I should do this. This would be a great idea. And then 6 months later, you're on TV and you're like, wait a minute, they're doing the exact thing I thought of 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a lot of success out there for the majority of people if they just had the faith to believe in themselves and chase their dreams. And if it doesn't work out, it's really not that bad. Yeah, so I don't really believe, so in school they teach us that 8 out of 10 businesses fail. 2 are going to make it. But the problem is I have all these friends that I watch succeed in almost every business they do. I personally today haven't had a business fail. I just don't believe.
We're knocking wood on that. Yeah.
But I don't believe those stats are true. I think it's 2 out of 10 business owners have what it takes to be successful because you run into stuff all the time. Everyone runs into obstacles. And do you have the ability to push through those and make it happen? I can tell you horror stories with every one of my companies that we've had to get through to keep it going. And so, dude, I think it's a personality type, and you have to, one, go after your dream, but you have to like bulldog go after your dream because things never go as they're supposed to, very rarely.
That's true.
And you always run into crazy obstacles where you're like, how am I going to get over this? Do you give up or do you keep going? And I think that's, if I was to sum up, like, am I special? No. Am I a bulldog? Yes. Do I ever give up on what I'm chasing after? No. Have I lucked out every single time and found a way through it? Yeah, if you call it luck. And there is a little bit of luck in business, but like, I think the majority of people, if they didn't give up on their stuff and they just pushed through the obstacles, they could be successful and they could actually get their dreams.
It's like a skill set. Do you think coming from nothing made you hungry? Because one of the things I notice in New York is, people who have everything at their disposal and they grew up around wealth and they don't do anything. It's like they want the lifestyle, but they don't have that killer instinct, if you will.
Yeah, I think it did. I think that was a big factor to live through. It's so awesome. My whole family works for me now.
Wow.
And to go through that and realize the stress. It wasn't that I had a bad family life. It was great. But I saw the stress that is placed on parents when they're trying to raise kids and things are so tight. And I started to realize that a lot of that struggle they were going through is because of decisions they'd made in their life. And so I made at a very young age, I made the decision that wasn't going to be my life. And I think everyone has the ability to do that. I mean, so often we tell ourselves, I can't do this. This is my life. This is the way I've been raised. This is me. That's not true. Like,
it's for other people.
Yeah.
Or other people have advantages that I don't. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, the people who do make it, they make a decision. I want this. Mm-hmm. And it's just in their soul, but you have to continue to want it, right? I see so many people, they want it. They like the fantasy of it, or they like it until it's difficult. They don't continue to want it.
100%. And like, I think it's in every career you see it. But like, when I think of iconic actors that are like Tom Cruise is like, he's like the last of the iconics, right? Yeah. But like, look how hard he works. Like, you read his story and you like, that dude went after it. And I think, I mean, Signal Relief is, honestly, it's the same story. We've had so many obstacles we've ran. I have one of the coolest products I've ever ran into in my life. It's probably, out of all the businesses I have, the most fun and the one that I'm most emotionally invested into is this one.
Well, let's get into it, because this is how we met. I was having a hip issue. I couldn't walk, and it was it was disturbing psychologically to me because it was not how I saw myself as having this hip issue. So I decided to put it on my hip, and I wore it for like a week, and the pain went away and it never came back. Now, this is my story. You have other stories that are unique, but we were analyzing, like, perhaps, when you use it and you feel better, it's like your body knows how to speak to each other better. It knows how to heal. And there's something about that can be long lasting, at least in my case. But this is incredible. And
cool.
You give it to vets. We have some stories and video of veterans who had not walked, like finding a new life. And it's almost like, I know you're a very religious person and you're Mormon and have a lot of kids and you're filled with faith. And this seems to have both. It's like you see results and you see a spirit that's given back to people.
So businesses are so fun. I taught an entrepreneur class actually for a while up in Idaho at a BYU school. And I always think being an entrepreneur or owning your business is awesome because you can affect so many people's lives. Because like everyone that works for you, you can affect their lives. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I've always loved that about business. But with this company, for the first time in my life, I'm changing lives. The product itself doesn't just affect the people working in the company, but it changes lives. And what I didn't realize, and I did realize this, so I used to own a bunch of CrossFit gyms, and I was doing CrossFit, and it was actually doing an overhead snatch clean, and all of a sudden my back popped, and I was like 32. And I couldn't figure it out. For 10 years, I probably went to a physical therapist 300 times. Trying to figure out like how to get my back right because I couldn't lift, I couldn't move. Half the time it was always sore. And I know, it affects you.
Yes.
It affects, like, I didn't want to get up in the morning. You start to get depressed. Like, it's hard.
It's like when we think about pain, it's not just the pain itself. It really does impact your mood. Some people isolate when they have pain. They get very depressed. And their spirit, it takes a toll on their spirit because we want to be in the world in a exciting way. We don't want to have to deal with pain if we don't have to. And chronic pain impacts millions of people.
Millions. And this is like such a breakthrough. So I love things that that happen on total accident. This is like when I say I had this idea and then 6 months later you saw it. So when I sold, my first company that I sold actually was called Dish One Satellite. We sold the Dish Network. Wow. And that was in 2012. And Dan Marriott, who's our CEO, we're staying in the Marriott. His family's the Marriotts. So he runs a manufacturing plant that
in the U.S.
In the U.S. Out of Utah.
When I heard about all the tariffs, I was like, "Where is this made?" And I was like, "Oh, it's in the USA! Great."
So he was one of my best friends from MBA school. And when he knew that I sold that company, he called me and said, "Mike, I'm working on some tech for the military. You should come check it out. You're going to want to invest." So I went and met with him. It was the coolest thing ever. Charlie, I actually had Charlie send a bunch of engineers from Denver out because I was like, there's just no way this is real.
Who's Charlie?
Charlie Ergen is the owner of Dish.
Oh, okay.
So he had a bunch of engineers from Dish come out to check out this tech. And these guys had basically figured out how to get an antenna to work on electrical fields instead of magnetic. So I gave them like just under $1 million basically, and I invested in the company, and they kept doing their thing, building their thing. And what happened is, instead of doing it, because it originally was a spray-on antenna, like you'd spray it on a telephone pole, hook up your stuff so the soldiers could go out and covertly build antennas wherever. Well, it didn't really work. So then they shrunk it down to the size of like a credit card. Totally worked. But when they put it on the soldiers, they were picking up signal. We're like, how's that possible? So I'm hearing about this from Dan. Dan's like my leak, telling me all about it. And the soldiers basically, the antenna was interacting with their electrical system. So
that was the pivot moment for signal relief.
Electrical system. So the inventor's like, I bet we can make this take away pain. Because he's thinking, if the body works this way, then I could I could get this. Because what it is pain is just energy. Like your nerves go off, it creates energy, right?
Yeah.
If lightning hits a house, it lights on fire. But if lightning hits a house with a lightning rod, what happens?
It reflects off of it.
It goes right to the lightning rod and doesn't even touch the house.
Right.
Why? Because energy always follows the path of least resistance. Pain's just an energy frequency. So all this patch does is it makes it easier for that frequency to go into the patch than to go up to your brain. So you hurt your wrist, your nerves start firing, you put this on right above where the wrist. It's easier for that energy. That's why you probably felt it heat up when you put it on your hip, to go into the patch than to go up to your brain. And so what's so cool is there's no drugs.
Yeah.
Right? It's wearable, but you're not putting anything into the body, and it turns pain off within minutes.
That's what I really like about it, that it's not pharmacological. So people who struggle with addiction, with pain meds, don't need to worry about that. I don't know if you know this, but I will mention it to my patients. I'll be like, have you heard of it? And they're like, no, I haven't heard of it. I'm like, you should check it out because, a lot of my patients also have pain, not just psychological. And so, but they go together. You showed me before this interview some great video of a veteran who lost his foot, part of his leg.
I'm right now like 100% on people with missing limbs. It works every time. But basically what happens is someone gets their arm or their leg cut off, those nerves just start firing and they don't turn off. So they feel like their old limb there, they feel the injury and they go years in extreme pain, right? And this isn't like, again, this is just a health and wellness device. It helps people live with that pain, but it makes such a big difference because, so this veteran, and you'll notice this on the video, he's sitting at Walmart and, I actually was at the gas station getting gas, and I watched someone hold out $20 bill to him, and he stood up to go get it, and he took one step, grabbed his leg, sat back down. I'm like, he's in a lot of pain. So I ran back to the office and got all my employees, and one of them grabbed the phone and started recording us, which we didn't know would happen. I just wanted my employees to see what this really does for people. And the veteran, we go up to him. He was, I think it was Vietnam, 30 years ago that he lost his leg in a submarine accident. And he said, I haven't slept in 30 years. I'm like, well, how bad does it hurt? And he goes, I can't sleep. I can't walk. And we put the patch on his leg, actually, right above his, it doesn't have to be on the skin. A lot of times we just put it right on the actual prosthetic.
Oh, wow.
Within 5 minutes, he's like, oh, that's crazy. My leg doesn't hurt. And we're like, why don't you try walking? He's like, no, I can't walk. I'm like, why don't you try it? He's like, so he gets up, takes two steps. Then he just looks at us and tears come down both eyes and he salutes us, which is so
powerful.
Cool.
That's very powerful.
So cool. But my favorite part of the story is we go back to the office and my employee is like, hey, I recorded the whole thing. I'm like, what? I didn't know he'd recorded it. So we had to go get a release or we couldn't use it. So we went back where we had dropped him off because we had actually bought him the bus ticket and got him everything he needed. And we went back to the bus stop and he was running around his chair and he had the biggest smile on his face and he still had tears. And he's like, dude, I can't believe I can do this. Like, it doesn't hurt.
So as a therapist, what I could say you did, and Signal Relief gave him his identity back, his healthy identity. And don't we all want to be able to plug into that? But sometimes pain is a distraction from our healthy identity. And, it's a blessing. I have to say, in meeting you and knowing you, you just are the total package in terms of your business mindset, because I can tell you have fun. It's like you are enjoying yourself with every person you speak to, and your desire for the good also rules what you're doing. Yes. And don't we want all business owners to be like that?
Dude, all of us. And you have such a difference as a business owner to affect people's lives. It's about, dude, money comes. I've always felt like everyone I've ever met that's successful where money is their motive, they're like miserable. Yeah. They're miserable. But money naturally just comes to the people who, like, who are doing what they love and actually care about the people. And I feel like that's just a result of doing what you love and like not giving up. And
We're very lucky. We are very lucky, and we are very grateful for you for investing in this show so we can highlight other people who love what they do and found joy on the other side of the pivot, or found their purpose on the other side of the pivot. And you're helping people find their healthy identity and life again as a result of their experiences with Signal Relief. So I am incredibly thankful and grateful to you. And I hope you come to the city a lot more often and we can continue to do this work together.
thank you. Appreciate you.